Welcome to the Divorce661 Daily Perspective. We're trying a new format here, the end of each day, kind of recapping what I've done for the day and going over the issues that our clients have had and how we resolved them. So, Daily Perspective, we called it Perspective because I am 50% Norwegian and we spell perspective Perpesketiv, and our corporate name is Perspective Legal. So, just where you know that's coming from when you see that in the YouTube description, why we're purposely spelling perspective that way. Well, let's get right into it. So today we had lots of going on. We're trying always to cram 8 hours of work and, or should say 12 hours of work into a 8-hour day. Up early this morning, usually get in the office around 5 o'clock. Changing up my schedule from working out in the morning to working out in the afternoon, evening, and so I can get into the office earlier, usually 4:30, 5 o'clock, so I can get a jump on the day before things get crazy. So let's get into it. Today we finalized the Chatsworth Divorce Case. Had it approved by the court by someone who'd been working on the divorce for 3 years. So we get a lot of cases where people have tried to do their own divorce and it wasn't approved for one reason or another, multiple rejections. Sometimes they just filed their petition, thought their divorce was finalized, and didn't realize it had not been until they got a notice from the court. So if you find yourself in that situation, we can certainly take over your case and finalize no matter where you're at in the process. And we handle all cases, or I should say, we handle all courts in California. This one just happened to be in Chatsworth. We worked on a lot of judgments today. Prepared a judgment for clients in Sylmar. They work in Sylmar. We file those cases, all LA County cases, at the downtown court. These clients just happen to live in Sylmar. You never have to come to our office. Everything with LA County is e-filed, e-notarized, e-signed, and all that good stuff. So we got their case wrapped up, and we just started working with them a week ago. They got us their paperwork really quick and all their information, so we're able to finalize that, get that ready to file with the court. When we handle cases that quickly, just keep in mind it's their process with the courts, with LA County specifically, which is where we're located. We do handle all counties, but it's much faster in LA County because we can e-file the entire process from a petition through judgment. So the way that looks is we draft their initial documents. We get that e-filed with the court. Once that's filed, we get a case number. If they're already in agreement, they provide me with the terms. I draft their settlement agreement. They electronically sign and notarize that. And if that's done in a week, the soonest we can file their paperwork with the court is 31 days after they've been quote unquote served, which we do by notice and acknowledgement, meaning they're not getting physically served. They're just signing a document electronically. And then once we turn that into the court on that 31st day, it's usually approved within a couple of days. So it's really nice here in LA County, as nice as divorce can be. That is. So what else did we have going on today? Summary dissolutions. I finalized a summary dissolution case for clients in Orange County. The nice thing about Orange County is they'll accept electronic signatures on the initial document, so initial summons, petition, etc. With a summary dissolution, it's all filed in one shot. There's only a couple of forms for the entire process. And what Orange County does different with summary dissolutions is when we file it, even though we e-file it, it will take them a couple of days to process it. This one took 5 days. But when they approved it, they actually sent the divorce decree along with the final divorce date. So they have the divorce decree in hand. They're totally done. They're just waiting for the 6 months to pass. Nothing will happen after that. They'll just then become officially divorced. That's opposed to, say, LA County and almost every other court in California. When we file a summary dissolution, when we submit it, we can file the joint petition, but they will not put a date on the joint, or they will not put a date on the judgment portion. They'll actually hold it the entire 6 months, and then they'll process it, and then they'll send out the divorce decree. And the reason they do that is with a summary dissolution, there's the ability for either party at any time to file a document to stop the divorce. And so that's why they don't give out that final decree. What else did we have going on today? So summary dissolutions both in Orange and LA County, talked about that. LA prepped an LA case for clients in Santa Clarita. In this case, we finished in about 6 days. Again, we usually can get them done in a week if you guys have an agreement already in place. And I got that uploaded to the portal. So what happens, again, going back to with LA County and how we can file the judgment electronically, I'll get those uploaded into our portal. We use a service called Zach's Legal Service, I think it is. And that's how I'll get that into the portal. So let's say we finish their paperwork, it's signed, notarized, and they're technically done, but I can't submit it due to procedural timelines until a certain amount of time has passed. And it's usually 31 days is when I'll submit that. So I'll preload it to be e-filed into this Zacks online portal. I'll calendar it on my calendar, so I know to go back to that portal to just hit submit once that date comes. And then again, with LA County, it's usually a couple days and the judgment's approved. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? E-file the judgment for clients. So what I do during the day is I just make some notes as far as kind of what I've done throughout the day, so I can kind of go over this with you guys. And again, hopefully you see some value in not only getting a kind of look behind the scenes of what I do on a daily basis, but talking about what I did and why I did it. And maybe that'll help you in your divorce. E-file the judgment for clients in Santa Clarita. It took about a year to finally reach an agreement. So I talk a lot about how fast we can get divorce cases done, and we often do if there's an agreement in place, but that is not, doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes people just want to start the divorce process, start the clock on the 6 months. They may not be in agreement yet, but at least they know they don't want attorneys to go to court, so they're going to try and work through those issues on their own, either at the kitchen table or say maybe they need to get a mediator or something in between, but they eventually come to an agreement. These clients, we had worked with them for about a year. You know, it's off and on. They come and go, need a little help, they'll go work on it and so forth. But it was about a year in the making. And what was nice is once they were able to reach an agreement, they provided me the terms. I drafted their settlement agreement. It was an LA County case, so I was able to have them electronically sign and notarize the paperwork. And we e-file it with the court today, and it'll probably be approved by tomorrow. So the reason why I say that's nice is even though it took them a year, it was funny because they signed everything, said, "Hey, Tim, let me know, is the divorce approved?" Like, we expect instantaneous approvals where it used to be, 3 or 4 months, which it is in most courts other than LA County. But I think we're going to get a little spoiled in LA County, especially if you're using a service like mine that does e-file, how fast we can get divorce cases approved once they're submitted to court. Okay, so the next thing I did is drafted all final paperwork and settlement agreement for a new client who had hired us last week. So this goes back to, and this was a Santa Clara County case, and this was a judgment preparation. So they had filed their case in 2020, never finalized it. We're looking to get that wrapped up there in Santa Clara. In Santa Clara, we handle a lot of cases with that county. They're probably one of the most problematic counties in California to deal with. They do probably 10 things from a procedural standpoint different than any other court. Fortunately, I've been doing this 11 years, and they'll still pop something new on us that, a new judge, a new clerk, or maybe a clerk made a mistake and we'll have to correct them. But because we file enough cases in all the counties in California, but Santa Clara specifically, they can give us a headache on occasion. We try and keep it dialed in. I have a process flow. They even have their settlement agreement they want different. They want, for instance, where we're in all other courts, we don't list when the divorce case will finalize on the judgment on the FL 180. The court will fill that in. They want us to do one of two things. If it's before the 6 months, they want us to calculate out 6 months and a day from the date of service and actually put that on the judgment form, the FL 180 and the 190. But if we're submitting it after the 6 months have passed, they want us to write, I forget, date of judgment filed, something like that. So it's mostly just they want us to do a little bit more of their job for them. And it's just kind of some of the tweaks you have to know about. The tweaks you have to know about to get them approved, because even for little things like that, they'll reject it. They won't go in and write that in. So that was Santa Clara. Let's see what else. Wrapped up another judgment and sent out for electronic signatures for another LA County divorce case. So we do high volume here. I used to have 4 offices in LA County, 5 employees, and very labor intensive. Everything was filed by paper. LA County, until a year ago, probably was like every other court, very paper intensive. All our clients had to mail in their documents, even local clients. We had to make a bazillion copies. It ended up being like this thick to submit to court. And with LA County, that's not the case. I probably would go through a case of paper a month prior, and now I go through a case of paper for courts maybe every 6 months. And that's because the majority of our cases are in LA County, probably, 75%, and the remainder are speckled out through, speckled, is that a word? Spreckled? Anyways, They're kind of all over the rest of California. And so those we still need to file with paper and make all the photocopies and submit by mail. And those cases are still taking a lot longer. See, later in the day, I helped some clients who I've been working with for a few months who are in San Diego. And this kind of goes with what I was saying earlier about you don't have to have an agreement in place to file. They wanted to file, start the clock on the 6 months. I think we've been in the process maybe 4 months now. And they had received a notice from the court from San Diego. They're down at the Central Courthouse. They had received a notice from the court that there's a status conference. And most courts will set a status conference hearing. It's not something where they're going to dismiss your case or anything. They're just trying to call you into court to say, hey, what's going on? Do you need help? Your divorce isn't finished, because there's a lot of people out there who don't finalize their divorce for a variety of reasons. And I was actually impressed with San Diego because they had actually called them and left a voicemail saying, hey, there was a hearing. You guys didn't show up. No big deal. We're going to set another hearing in December. So to move your case forward, you have to file the proof of service and some other things to move it forward. So I manage their case for them so they don't have to worry about showing up the hearings. I can contact the court. We can file certain documents to defer or delay those hearings. You do want to keep, in all counties, you do want to keep an eye out for any hearings you do get, because sometimes you can get a crabby judge, and if you don't show up, they'll just dismiss your case if there's no progress without warning. And the sad part about that is you have to start over. You have to pay the court fees again. And you're also going to start the clock all over again on the 6 months. All right. Then see, what else do I do today? Finalize a judgment for clients in Ventura. Got lots of clients in Ventura, right on the border of LA County, obviously. Ventura, we can e-file with Ventura, the initial petition, but that's it. They don't allow us to e-sign or e-file anything else moving forward. But Ventura, we like working with them. I don't want to say I know personally all of the clerks there. I have worked with all of them. They're good people. One of the few courts that if we submit a judgment and they have questions or they want some clarity, they'll call me and say, Tim, can I make this change for you? So we don't have to reject it, which is nice. No other court does that. Ventura clerks, love you. Thank you for doing what you do. They're still slow in their processing. It's still with Ventura and most courts 3 to 4 months for processing their judgments. I think it's a low staff issue in most cases in all these counties, especially Ventura. I was just on their website trying to get a copy of a document, and I saw they had some positions they were trying to fill with the county. Another thing I did today is, I had an attorney refer me the other party in their case. So they were representing the petitioner, and their case is amicable, but the divorce attorneys don't generally want to work with both parties where they're both self-represented. They'll work with one party they'll represent. So in this case, attorney's representing the petitioner, and he referred the respondent over to me, said, hey, they're in agreement, but we need to do all their paperwork. So I did their response for them, and then we're going to be doing their financial disclosures for the respondent, and then the petitioner, then the attorney will draft the settlement agreement and they can finalize their case. Now, I did a bunch of videos on that earlier this week talking about that. With attorneys, they're not going to want to, and I was pulling up some of the videos I did, they're not going to want to work with both parties, and they're going to refer out. Whereas with like my service, for instance, you wouldn't need to hire individual paralegals or get another attorney. So if you are going through an amicable divorce, it's uncontested. You guys are going to eventually reach an agreement. I'm trying to find my notes here. My service works with both of you, which is interesting because I'm learning lately that there's other legal document preparers, which is what I do, that will only work with one spouse, which in my opinion completely makes the process difficult, even if you're amicable. Imagine this. So you and your spouse are amicable, you hire me, and I'm only going to work with you, the petitioner, and I won't have a conversation with your spouse. I won't do their side of the paperwork. They have to go out and get either do their own paperwork or find another paralegal or attorney to do their paperwork. In my opinion, there's no way you can reach or get through to an agreement quickly and get your divorce finalized quickly if that's happening. This was another, I think it was in San Diego as well. Yeah, it was yesterday. I received a call, and the petitioner had filed their own paperwork. the respondent paid a paralegal service in San Diego to finish up the case, and they signed everything and submitted it. But when the petitioner, who was the filing party, called the paralegal to ask some questions, they said, "You're not our client." So that just doesn't make any sense to me. If you are going to go through an amicable divorce, make sure you use a paralegal service, specifically a legal document assistant, that will work with both of you for one flat fee. I don't know if it's a money thing. In my opinion, I've done this for 11 years now. In my opinion, I would never want to work with just one spouse and the other spouse is kind of off trying to figure out. I don't know how you can ever get that accomplished. I work with both spouses. We use a third-party portal where all communication is amongst the three of us all the time, the entire process, so everyone's on the same page. I do all the paperwork. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone signs the paperwork. Everyone knows what's going on. If there's questions, everyone gets their question answered. I don't see any other way of doing that. To be fair with you, if you're calling around or looking for a paralegal service or LDA in California for your divorce, and they will not work with both of you, I would not walk, but I would run the other way. Well, thanks for joining Divorce 661's Daily Perspective number 1. We'll see you in the next episode.